Yee! Hey guys, I am Tiffany and I'm the owner of Tiffany Gordon Cosplay LLC, which is a company that focuses on costume and prop fabrication as well as education. And I'm excited to bring you another nightmare of a costume build tutorial. And specifically, this is for Nightmare's helmet from the game Soul Calibur. And this is all pretty much made out of foam minus the horn, which I did 3D print. It is wearable. And the best part, I think, is that I actually put lights in it. So it does light up just like the character. So if this is something you're interested in my channel, I would love to have you as part of our cosplay building community. So like this video and subscribe to the channel. I will say also that this was specifically made for a male size medium, so it is a little bit big for me, but I still think it looks great even if it's on me and it's not necessarily made for me. But you be the judge. Anyway, let's begin. And let's start with the fabrication materials. And here's everything that I used for making this helm. And I'll have links to all of it in the description, as well as you can find my pattern available on my website, tiffanyGordonCosplay.com, link in the description. Now, for this entire build of the full Nightmare cosplay, including the Soul Edge sword, I had to make this super fast. And basically, I tried to use my Glowforge, my laser cutter, as much as possible. So I did that for this helmet, but you do not need one to do any part of this helmet. You can cut out all of the parts by hand using an X-Acto knife or a box cutter. It just will take a little bit more time. And because I was in a rush, I actually forgot to film any of the gluing. So I'm just gonna let you know off the bat, I used contact cement glue. And of course, with contact cement glue, you will want to use a respirator as the stuff is very bad to breathe. And with contact cement glue, basically you're going to get the glue, apply it to both sides of the surface you want to attach together, wait for the glue to dry, and then you will attach the two parts. And now let's do that. Starting off with the base of the helm, which on my pattern, this is gonna be parts I and J. And this is gonna be 4mm foam that we're gonna use. And you will want to connect them to themselves first. And then after that, you're going to have the two halves, which you are then going to connect together, and it's basically going to give you a dome that will be on your head. Followed by the neck piece for the helm, which is parts K through N on my pattern, and you'll connect these four pieces together. I will note that I also cut out the trim and already pre-attached these to each of these four pieces. And for the trim, I used 4mm foam, and this just made it easier to align all of the pieces. And then you're going to connect that neck piece to the top dome of the helm. And I recommend starting from one side, doing attack, and then doing attack on the other side, and slowly working towards the center of each side to connect. Now moving right along, and we're gonna talk about the eyebrow piece, which is gonna be G. And this one, basically you're gonna cut the main piece out of 4mm, and then cut your pieces of trim. Again, I'm doing 4mm, glue that together, and then we're going to switch to the forehead piece, which is H, and repeat by gluing the trim to that piece. Then grab your now connected pieces, and we're gonna go to our sanding station, grab a Dremel and a sanding drum, and start sanding edges. First, you're gonna want to sand them all flush on the sides, and then afterwards, we're gonna go onto the pointed part of the edge and round it out so these pieces don't look like cut foam. And you'll pretty much be repeating this process every time you do a step of connecting the base to the trim parts, so just keep that in mind for this project. And next we're going to connect the two pieces together, which will be G and H. And I highly recommend using the table for this, so that way they connect flush on the bottom side, having your trim face upward. And you'll start from one side, work your way towards the center to the corner, and then gradually move to the other side. And this will make it so that way it has a slight curvature when it is connected. Then we're going to connect this to our base helm part. And I basically did an inch spread of contact cement glue to the base helm, as well as to the back of our forehead eyebrow piece, waited for the glue to dry, and then started to connect it. But before you do this, I highly recommend putting it on your head first so you can see how far the front part goes, because you can adjust where this connects if it goes too far down your nose or if you want it to go higher on your forehead. I recommend doing that before applying the glue and marking your lines with a Sharpie so you know kind of where to do it. Now for our detail strap, and this is going to be letter P on our pattern. And for this, the main piece I cut out of 2mm foam, and then the trim I did 4mm, connecting those together first. And then I grabbed Costools hole drill and used their smallest one to punch out of 2mm foam my faux rivets. And once again, connect them to the piece with contact cement glue. Once that was done, I then took the strap, and this is going to connect covering the seam of where the top part of the helm and the neck piece connected. And I highly recommend, before applying your glue, placing the foam where you want it to lay, and then trace and mark with a Sharpie, and then afterwards apply your contact cement glue to attach. And for attaching, I started in the center and then worked my way towards the outer part, so that way I made sure it was even on both sides. I repeated this also for the helm band on the top, which is part O on the pattern. And this piece I cut out of 10mm foam, and it is going to cover the center seam on the helm. And moving right along to the unicorn spike in the front. And for this piece, I actually 3D modeled and printed the piece. And you can find my 3D model file available on my website. I'll do a link in the description. If you don't have a 3D printer, you can always do this out of 4mm foam or buy a pre-made foam spike piece, but they're a little bit harder to make and to find in this exact shape. Whatever works best for you. And for me, I 3D printed it in ABS filament and did a very light honeycomb film on the inside, so it wasn't too front heavy. And then I did my typical cleanup of sanding the piece and then doing my Rust-Oleum Sand and Wool primer and sanding it again to get rid of all of the stair step prints on the piece. Once that was done, I then applied my contact cement glue to the bottom side as well as to where it was going to attach on the helm, and that's how I did the unicorn spike part. And now for the mohawk pieces, so we can be very cool. And these are gonna be parts R through T. And for these pieces, I traced the base shape onto 10mm foam. Reminder, you will want to mirror each of the pieces because you will need 2 of each of these sizes. And then for the trim, I cut out of 4mm foam. Once that was done, I attached all the pieces, did my typical sanding, and then figured out a good spot of where to place these parts. And for me, I did the 2 middle pieces in the center on the detail strip, and then I did 2 above and then 2 below. Now for the mouth part, and for this it is going to be part A and B, and all of these parts I did out of 4mm foam. And before I glued them on the center seam, I did go to my workbench and I sanded the seam at a 45, so that way when I glued the pieces together, it would already come at an angle and have that bend to it. And then for the cheek pieces, these are C through F on my pattern, and these are all 4mm as well, including the trim. The only difference, which I didn't film because I was very rush on time, is on the back of these pieces, you will want to score them. And that means you are gonna cut at a slight 45 along the guideline that is on the pattern, but you are not gonna pierce all the way through the foam, only halfway. At a 45, you're gonna rotate the foam and do it again on that same line. And this is gonna create a triangle-like shape that you should be able to remove, and your foam you should then be able to bend in the shape that you want. Then you're going to glue them on top of each other, followed by attaching the pieces to the mouthpiece. And you should have this cool mouth-like card piece like this, which is cool on its own, not just with the helmet. And the very last step for fabricating this helmet is actually going to be attaching the mouthpiece to the rest of the helm. And on this, I attached the mouth and cheek pieces onto the inside of the helm. And again, I would recommend before doing this, putting the whole thing on your head first, and then seeing where you want this placement to go, if it is going to fully cover your mouth, or if you will need to lower it some. Oh, but wait, I lied, there's one more piece, and that is the dragon detail part. And for me, I ended up engraving these pieces with my Glowforge to have the dragon design, and then it cut it out. But if you don't have a Glowforge, you can do this with a Cricut. It's just going to be a little bit more complicated, or you can cut all of these shapes out with an X-Acto knife. I've done this before for my Thor costume. It takes a long time doing this by hand with an X-Acto knife, but it is possible. So choose which method, and best of luck. And that will complete the fabrication part. Now for my favorite part, painting. And here's the list of all the tools and materials that I used for painting this helmet. Reminder, you can paint this by hand with acrylic paint and a paintbrush if you do not have an airbrush gun or compressor. And the first part that you always want to do before painting is prime your foam. And for this, I like to use Plastidip, which is a rubber spray paint, and it's just gonna help hold all your foam together in general. And I apply 3 heavy coats onto all sides, including the inside of this helm. Reminder, in between each coat, you will want to wait at least 45 minutes for it to dry. And then after the last coat, I highly recommend a day before you go to paint it, just to make sure it is all fully dry and you won't have any bubbles with the airbrush gun afterwards. And then for painting, and all of the paint that I'm going to be using was provided by Createx Colors, as well as my airbrush gun and my airbrush compressor were provided by Iwata Airbrush. And the first coat of paint that we're going to be using is Wicked Jet Black, applying this onto the entire surface. And then for our main color, which is going to be Pearl Blue, and you'll apply this to your blue areas. And it's really pretty because it has this pearlescent kind of sparkly kind of surface, and it's just really cool in person. Now, this is an armor set, and I don't know any armor set that's just nice and pretty and doesn't have any wear and tear or age to it. So we need to do a little bit of that. And for me, the color that I'm going to be using is actually the Candy 2O line of Createx Colors, and we're going to be using a paintbrush in their black color. And this paint is actually more of a oily water paint, and I like to use this by getting a dry paintbrush and lightly dipping it into the paint, brushing it around all of our edges. This is gonna give it a natural like shadow, as well as it's gonna look more aged and more like the armor is from medieval times or whenever Soul Calibur took place. And then for a little bit more details and highlights, I did go back with a paintbrush and the color Metallic Charcoal and kind of just do a little bit of marks on the edges so it looked like the armor had been hit. There's some scratch marks, some battle damage, you know? And once all of the damage was done and I was satisfied with the color and the paint was fully dry, it was time to mask off all of the blue sections. And for this, I used Scotch brand masking tape. And to make sure the tape doesn't leave tape residue or peel off your paint, what you want to do is get the tape and put it onto your leg or onto your pants, and then put it onto your foam, the painted part that you want. And this should help ensure that you have no additional battle damage that was not intended. Then back to painting, and we're gonna again do another base coat of Jet Black. Once that was dry, it was time to add our gold color, which is going to be gold chrome. And this color is so nice of the Cratex line, as it's gonna really just make everything pop. But we don't want it to pop too much. We do need to go back and add a little bit more age to it. And we're going to again be using the black from the Candy 2.0 line of Cratex with a paintbrush. Doing the same process with the blue where we used a paintbrush and going along the edges. And this is just gonna naturally kind of give it a more patinaed weather look. Then mask all of the gold spots off. And at this point, the only parts that should be exposed should be the 2 dragons as well as the unicorn horn. And one more time with our base color of Wicked Jet Black. Then wait for that to dry, and we're gonna move on to metallic charcoal, covering the dragons and the unicorn horn. And for our weathering of these pieces, we're gonna do it slightly different than what we've been doing for the rest of this helmet. And we're gonna do a mixture of jet black and metallic charcoal. And we're going to spray, starting with 1 dragon at a time, spray the entire dragon with this mixture. And while the paint is still wet, grab a paper towel and wipe the paint away. This is gonna leave all of that darker paint color in all of the crevices and around the edges. And this is a really quick and easy hack for doing weathering. You also do this around the base of the unicorn horn, but it's not necessary for the entire part. Once that final coat of paint was dry, you can then remove all of your masking tape to reveal your masterpiece. But because we used the Candy 2.0 line, it is really important that we seal all of the paint so that way it does not come off. And for this, we're going to be using Cratex Colors UVLS Satin, which is a clear coat that you're going to spray onto the entire surface very lightly. And with that, it will then complete your helmet! Now, some of the things that I did not film for making this was actually with the lights. I did end up adding some black fabric on the inside of this just because in the game you don't really see the skin of the person or the eyes. I would recommend doing 2 layers of fabric for this. I just did 1, and in some of the pictures you can actually see the person who is wearing this, their eyeballs, where if you were to do 2 layers of fabric you probably wouldn't see it as much when the lights are on. And for that I just hot glued it on the inside of the piece. And then I did end up adding 2 LED lights that were already pre-installed to a battery pack. It was much cheaper and easier than me soldering all of it together when I had to make the entire costume in less than a month. So I was kind of on a tight deadline and this was the best results for me, but I just have it temporarily taped in place. It just turns on and off with the switch. It has 2 AA batteries. I'll do a link in the description of where I got these. And then I ended up just hot gluing some pieces of 2mm foam strips on the inside so that way I could put the wire from the eye holes all the way back. And then I ended up gluing a piece of Velcro onto the actual battery bank so that way I could Velcro it to the model and I could easily access it to turn it on and off. Pretty simple design, not too complex for adding those components, and I think it really makes the helmet in the end. But let me know in the comments, I'd love to get your feedback. And that, guys, is how I made the helmet for my nightmare costume from the game Soul Calibur. I hope you found this video helpful for making your very own one, or maybe a helmet that's similar, you know, whatever. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments, so let me know. And don't forget to like this video as well as subscribe to the channel. A big thank you to all of my company sponsors here on YouTube, as well as all of my members, specifically those legendary members who financially help to support me so I can continue bringing you more costume tutorials, as well as continue doing this as my full-time job and my main source of income. And I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you for our next cosplay tutorial. Much love, guys!